Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you for joining us today. Hope you had a great day. For those who are new here, this is Aisha Bint Habib from Global Data 365. At Global Data 365, we help businesses and enterprises to turn their data into clear and insights, basically by providing them interactive dashboards or automating their reporting. So our goal is to empower the organizations using some business intelligence tools like Power BI, Chart reports, and Chart analytics. The purpose of today's webinar is to dive into a beautiful and a very dynamic feature of Power BI, that's fields parameter. Um, this is basically aimed to save time and reduce complexity over your data and help you compare multiple visuals inside only a one visual or so. So that to guide us through this topic, we have Wahab Tariq. He's an expert in Power BI and data analytics. Over to you, Wahab.
Thank you so much, Aisha Bintabi, for the intro. So let me switch the slides. All right, so welcome everyone for joining this webinar. My name is Wahab Tariq, and I am Power BI and developer with over 6 years of experience, and I have worked on many projects and faced many issues and even like introduced some tips and tricks that help the organization to visualize the data effectively. Similarly to that, I have also invented a trick over here with by myself using the fields parameter, which you can use to, instead of creating multiple visuals and using bookmarking, that can be a hectic sometimes. You can use fields parameter efficiently, as well as the formatting is also there to create this beautiful looking visuals that we will be discussing about in this webinar. So um, I have specialized in Power BI, Excel, and Figma. So let's move towards um, exploring like what led me to this problem, basically how I face this issue, and the thinking process of like how I can use field parameter in order to create this dashboard, this visual. All right, so basically the scenario number one was one of the client asked me to create a dashboard for him, like a finance dashboard in which we had like revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, expense, net profit, like multiple KPIs, and they wanted a monthly uh, chart, monthly trend chart for all of them. So one way was that I can visualize all these charts together, like I can create multiple trend charts in a single page, and then I can create another page, but why I thought that it is not a good approach, because you can see the redundancy, basically, duplicacy. So we don't want that. We don't want to duplicate our visuals, the same kind of visuals. This can also look good, but this can further clutter your dashboard if you have like more insights to put on your single page. Like if only revenue by month, cost of goods sold, profit, and expense are taking so much space, occupying in the single page, and they all are very common, right? The charts are very common, everything is common between them except the fields that needed to be switched, right? And for that we are creating a separate visual. So I thought that obviously that is not a good approach to use that. So that's why this was the scenario number one, that I could have created separate monthly trends, separate visuals for that. But I don't think so if that this is a good approach to use, because this can clutter your dashboard as well as your dashboard won't look good in this kind of scenario. Scenario number two was that I can like visualize all the KPIs together in a single chart. Obviously, by doing so, you can see that if I have, let's say, more than two, or maximum like more than three KPIs, then I have a problem over here, because all those KPIs together, they can create a lot of confusion because they, if you can see this chart, it doesn't have a clarity, right? Even if I want to see in March, if you only focus on March over here, if I want to compare or see my values, they are not very easy to read. Even the users can get confused by this visual. So even when I give trainings to my clients, I always ask them or always suggest them to never create a line chart if you have a line chart like this, if you have more than two fields to use, right? So if you have, let's say, revenue, cost of goods sold, expense, net profit, never use a line chart like this. Obviously, you can use some functionalities, advanced functionalities in Power BI that you know that can help you create this line chart. So that will lead us to our next scenario, which is scenario number 3. All right, bookmarking. I hope you know about bookmarking and what is the purpose of bookmarking. Basically, this scenario number 2 was, I uh, went further up into the scenario number 3 where I created bookmarking for each visual. All right. So in the scenario number 1, I have all the charts set, cluttered in my entire page. Then scenario number 2, I'm comparing them all together, which doesn't look good. It is creating confusion. Scenario number 3 is that, all right, I did a nice approach here where I can overlap my charts and you can see I have these buttons which I can click and my charts will switch. All right. So this was the scenario number 3 where I created bookmark for each of them. And due to that, I can switch my visuals in the same place effectively. And even I can minimize the space that I will be using in a dashboard. And this pretty much looks very good, right? So I thought that this is what I wanted. I have achieved through bookmarking in a single space all similar kind of visuals I visualized in a single area, and by just a click of a button I can switch those visuals. So it looked good to me until and unless my client came up with another requirement, and he asked me that, can you also create a visual where I can compare all these KPIs together as well? Like I don't want to only view revenue or only view cost of goods sold or only view gross profit. What if I also want to compare them side by side? Like so this is where I got stuck again that um, yeah, I cannot do it in the same chart because I have created using bookmarking. Like how will I be able to get another field over here? I can do it by bookmarking, but that will be a lot of efforts, a lot of bookmarks that I need to create for that, and that is not a good approach. All right, so another option was that I can create a separate chart where I have like this one, like this one, where I can compare all of them together. But still, the issue over here, it can cause confusion. So how to make it in a better way, how to make it interactive? And let's say if I can give the ability to my customer that if he wants to see only revenue, he can see only revenue trend like this. Or if you want to see only cost of goods sold trend, he can do like that. But if he wants to compare them side by side, then he can select both of these buttons and both of these trend will be compared, right? So mm, let me, okay. About the questions, we will be having a Q&A session at the end where you can ask all your questions by unmuting your mic. So let me now continue with the uh, scenario over here. So this one, so I think we are clear that what was the problem with this approach as well, the bookmarking approach, which seemed fine at once, but if the additional requirements were there, like I want to compare revenue and cost of goods sold side by side. In that case, this is not what this is not an ideal chart for that. So fields parameter. So basically, fields parameter. Um, Okay, so fields parameter is basically where a functionality in Power BI, if you're familiar with, it is a one of my favorite functionality. So mostly I use this functionality in my dashboards because it has a lot of flexibility. You can, achieve a lot of things using fields parameter. So it is a dynamic feature which lets us switch between our measures, are columns, or even hierarchies. Like, even if you want to, if you don't want to, let me go back. If you don't want to switch the values, if you want to switch the axis as well, let's say I don't want to view by month, I want to view by quarter, or I want to view by year as well. I need a flexibility to switch between month, year, quarter, or another fields, so fields parameter cover all of them. So it simplifies the process of creating interactive reports by enabling end users to customize view without requiring multiple slices or separate visuals, as we saw in the scenario one, right? So users can dynamically switch. One more thing that field parameters add is basically, it gives, the user has the option to interact with the visual and view whatever um, insights he want to see. That introduces interactivity in your dashboard as well, which allows user to engage more with your dashboards, spend time with more with the dashboard, and due to that, the users are, they can spend more time on the report. They can get insights very quickly, and whatever insights they want to see, they can see in the click of a button. So user has the command over here. He has the advantage that whatever he wants to see, he can just click on those buttons and see the visual. All right. So it reduces the need for multiple visuals and slices and simplifies setup without extra slices or bookmarks that we saw, that we don't need to create those bookmarks. And even in the bookmarks, you can see that, let's say if I want to um, add net profit here, right now we only have four buttons. If I want another button, so for that I will have to create like another chart similar to this one and overlap that and create bookmarking. So that can be a lot of manual work here just to add another button, right, of a similar kind. So field parameters is there for you, and what we want to achieve. So this is the demo. We will see that what is we are aiming to achieve. Here you can see we have a monthly trend. If a user selects revenue, he can just see the revenue trend. If he selects revenue and expense or any other field together, then it will be a comparison chart, right? It can give you the comparison. Otherwise, if you single select anyone, it will if you single select anyone, it will just show the trend for that, right? So this is what we are trying to achieve in this webinar. All right. So let's move towards the implementation part, and we will see how we will be able to achieve
बन गया
this interactive. Uh,
क्यों मैं उस दिखा दूँ
all right. So let's start with the demo. Just like give me a minute, then we will start with the
मैं ब्रांच नहीं गया
demo of this. All right, so let's resume with the implementation part. Let's go to, let me open the Power BI. All right, so this is the dashboard that we have, and we will be creating a parameter over here, okay, at the bottom, where we will be having that dynamic chart. All right, so for that, let's create, so this is the target that we want to achieve, right? This monthly trend chart. So let's go and let's create this clustered column chart. By the way, this works the same for line chart, area chart, whatever you want over here. Even if you want to add a line chart over here, it will be perfectly fine. All right, but I will be using the clustered column chart over here. So first of all, let's add an axis, which will be, I hope my screen is clearly visible. Okay, so let's add month over here. Okay, month over here. And then now I need revenue, expense, the other fields. So let me just add for now, I will add a revenue over here. Okay. Hmm, just let me remove a filter from here. Revenue. All right. And month, I will set to show items with no data. So I have all the month. All right. Now, uh, if I need like a field parameter, so we know like what is the purpose of field parameter, and because of that, I'll be requiring one. So for that, let's create a fields parameter. Go to the modeling tab over here at the top, and now you have new parameter, right? So inside new parameter, you have fields. All right, so you have two types of parameter. One is the numeric range and one is the fields parameter that we will be using in this webinar. So fields parameter, and what do you want to name your parameter? You can name whatever you want. I usually use this PMR, KPIs, or whatever name suits you, right? And what fields you want to switch between. They can be like fields or like a column or even the measures. So let's go with the measures. I need this revenue, all right? And then I need cost of goods sold, and I need gross profit, and then I need expense, right? And I also need net profit, but I'm leaving it as it is right now. I'll show you that if you want to add more fields into it after creating the fields parameter, then how you can do it. All right. So we are good with this for now, and let's create it. All right, so you can see we have a formula bar at the top. So this formula bar is has the calculation, a DEX calculation over here that is creating a table for us, which is a parameters table, right? So even we have the slicer over here now, which says PMR KPIs, and all the fields that we mentioned are also available here. So let's now select the revenue, but my or the cost of goods sold, but my values are not switching, right? Because for that, whenever you create parameter, after creating a parameter, go to the visual where you want to switch your field based on the slicer. Then inside that visual, instead of the measure that you are using, you don't want to use that measure now. You can remove it. Instead, we will be using a parameter that we have just created and put it in the y-axis over here. And now you will see the values will be switching. See, gross profit, expense, revenue. Okay, so this is how you create basically parameters and how you sync it with the visual. All right, so let's say I have I want to add another field over here. Right now, I only have revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, and expense, but I don't have net profit. And I also want to add that now. So what I can do? So for that, go to the formula bar of, the table, the parameters table, and here you have this formula, right? So let's understand this formula. Basically, this first uh, argument that we have over here is basically the name of your field. For example, here you can see in the slicer it is written revenue. Okay, so if I want to change it to, let's say, revenue 123, just I'm showing you. Then if I change it from here, it will change the name from for that field, right? So this is the name over here, the first one, and after the comma, you have the field, a measure, right? If you want to change this measure, let's say you don't want revenue, you want something else, you can change the field from here. And the third one is the ordering, okay, in which order you want to see that particular field in the slicer. Let's say I want to see revenue on the top, so that's why the order is 0, so it will go in the ascending order, right? So the order is 0, 1, 2, 3. But let's say I want the revenue in the last, so I will give it, let's say, 4. So you will see in the slicer the revenue will go at the bottom. See, revenue is at the bottom because the ordering says that revenue should be at the fourth number. Let me make it 0 again. So this is the ordering, right? So basically this is the line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, and line number 4. But I want net profit as well. So what I will do, I will um, use a comma over here, copy this whole line, enter it down. Okay. And now I will name it as net profit. And similarly in here as well, because now I will use the net profit field, and the order will be, because I want it at the end, so order will be 4. I hope this makes sense, right? I hope it's clear. So this is how we have all of these values in the slicer, right? Okay. Okay. Now let's format this chart a bit. Let me just format it quickly. I will turn off the header icons and mhm. All right. Let's give some paddings. Um, okay. Now let me remove my y-axis title and x-axis title, and let's make it 8. Okay. So now we are very close to this one. We just need some formatting, right? So for that, let's make revenue as green. Okay. So if I make revenue green like this and I switch to cost of goods sold, now you will see that when I switch to cost of goods sold, it is also green. But at the top, you can see I have revenue as green, cost of goods sold as yellow, gross profit as purple, then red, then blue. I want the colors to be according to the field that I switch on, right? So that's okay. Let's try and go to the cost of goods sold and make it yellow. Now you will see that if I go back to revenue, that is yellow as well. That green formatting is no longer there, right? So now what to do, right? So for that, I have a trick, okay, that we can use. So first of all, let me show you the trick. We have two options. Either we can create a measure over here, okay, that measure will help us to switch the colors based on the field that is selected. Okay, just give me a minute. I need to remove this interaction from here. And similarly for this. Okay. All right. So how to create, what if one of the option was to create a measure, and the second option I will show you right now. Let's go to this table that we have for parameters. Okay. And now you will see, if even in the formula bar, this was the name, the first column. This is the name of the field, and the third one is the order. But I can also give my color codes here. Okay. I can also provide the color codes for each of these fields instead of just creating a measure and using it in my um, visual. Okay. So for that, what if I write like a comma after the ordering one and then inverted commas and just enter? Okay, it will give me an error because I have to do it for all of them. Enter. And now you will see another column is added. All right. And in this column, I can use my color codes, right? So let me show you. Uh, that I have the color codes over here. Okay, so these are the color codes that I will be using. So for that, okay, hmm, I'll use these color codes. These color codes are exactly the same that I have here in my KPIs, the green, yellow. So I just copied their code, and I need a hash for, because these are color codes. The color codes require a hash, inverted commas, and then the value for that color code. All right. Similarly, let me copy for cost of goods sold this yellow one, and similarly for this blue, I need. Okay, so these are all the color codes that I have for that field. Enter. Okay, and I can also name it like PMR KPIs color. Just consistency with the other column names. And I can hide this as well because I don't want to show this column. All right. So this is also the trick I invented because when I was creating the measures to do the formatting, sometimes I have to create so many measures. Like if I need to format for this, let's say for this chart, I have to create a separate measure. For this chart, I have to create a separate measure using those same colors, repeating those same colors. For that reason, I used this, trick where you have a new column and the color codes are now embedded in that table itself. So Power BI will know that if revenue is selected, this is the color code that I need to select, right? Similarly, this is the color code I need to select for cost of goods sold. So let me show you what I mean. So instead of using the colors over here, okay, directly, which we saw that it is of no use, we can use this fx, okay, and this fx, which will give us the option to dynamically format. So one way was that I can type in the rules, obviously, but if I'm creating more than one visual by using that parameter, I have to do it again and again. So the best approach is that I use a field value, and I have that color column over here. Um, see PMR KPIs color, right? Okay. And now you will see that the colors will be dynamic according to what field I select. Revenue. And when I select cost of goods sold, yes, the colors are switching. See, just like that, the colors are switching, right? So I hope that's clear that how we can switch the colors. But this is one of the use case that I have achieved, which was this one. Let me show you. which was this one, right? The scenario number three, where I created a bookmarking, and it is working exactly like the bookmarks. If I click on cost of goods sold, if I click on gross profit. So one requirement I've done very easily, because now we don't have four same charts and overlapping each other and switching by using a bookmark. I have a parameter, and that was very quick, right? I don't have to create so many bookmarks for that. But the requirement number two is still not fulfilled. What was that? If you want to compare your KPIs side by side as well. So for that, I need to give the option to multi-select, right? Sorry. So for that, go to your slicer setting, and multi-select with control. You can turn it off. So you can directly, select multiple KPIs. So now if I select revenue, green color chart with the revenue by month. But if I select cost of goods sold, now you will see I can see both of them together, but the colors are not what I expect them to be, because when I was selecting only revenue, it is giving me green now. Cost of goods sold is giving me yellow. Similarly, these all are synced with their actual colors. But what if I select multiple? If I select revenue and cost of goods sold together, now you can see the color formatting is not following, like we did it, in that part. So when I single select, it is following. For multi select, it is not following. But here, what you can do, you can go to the visual, okay, and you can select the color directly, because that will work. Let me show you. See, revenue is green, cost of goods sold is yellow. So when I only select revenue, it will give me green. When I only select cost of goods sold, it will give me yellow. Here, when I single select, it is using that conditional formatting, like the dynamic one, right? The FX one that we used. But when I multi-select, then that dynamic conditional formatting won't work. Here, you can just simply give the colors, and that will work. See, it works like that. Obviously, we need to sync others as well, like the gross profit. So let me do it quickly. Expense is red and net profit is blue. All right. Or even let me just turn off the legends, because we already know that the green represents the revenue, like that. All right. So now if I select revenue, it shows me revenue. But now if I select gross profit, so it shows me gross profit with that, as well as the colors are also following, right? So we have pretty much achieved what we wanted. Our scenario is completed. Now we have the option to compare multiple KPIs together, as well as view a single KPI as well, their monthly trend, right? And user has the functionality to switch between these visuals. Now, if you want to further you know do formatting exactly like this one, let me show you. Like if I single select, then it should be like a solid color, right? But if I multi-select, if I select any other field as well, then it should have like a slight color, light color with a border. Obviously, you can do that. Let me select all of them together, and let me go to all. Okay, because I want to turn on the border for all of them. So I will not go to each of the series and turn on the border, because it will override it. So if I just directly go to all, it will be applied to all of them, right? And match column color, I can do that. And then obviously, if I want to decrease like the transparency to, I think it is 20. Hmm, can make it like 20, or even I have color codes for that. Let me use the color codes. Um, I'll be using these color codes instead. And instead of match fill color, I will be using my green color like this. So it's just the formatting part over here. Okay. Net profit. And this one is for expense where I've used a red. Now let's test it. So if I select revenue and then if I select cost, yes, colors are working fine. But if I multi-select, let's say like that, see, revenue and gross profit together, then expense, it is working properly. Just now we need title. So for that, we can go to the title, and the title was here, like, sorry, this one, monthly trend, right? So I can type the title as monthly trend. All right. So this is how we create a beautiful looking visual. And let me show you, I have a button over here as well that I can directly use with this formatting to be able to sync it with my visual. Mhm. All right. See, revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, expense, and net profit. So this was the demo for how you can use the field parameters in order to create beautiful looking, and also this dashboard, sorry, this visual has, a lot of visuals combined in it, because we are not creating separate monthly trends. We are not creating, a combined trend for a chart for that. But here we have a visual that a user can use it as a separate trend, or even comparing KPIs together. All right. So I hope this demo was clear to all of you. And now, if you have like any questions regarding the demo of this fields parameter, you can ask in this Q&A session that we have. All right. So I have a question in the chat that what if you want at some point the customer wants to change the colors? Obviously, that is very simple. Now, let's say right now we only have this one chart over here. Okay. Similarly, I have another chart over here as well. Okay. But this chart is also based on those like revenue, cost of goods sold, the same one. It is also repeating over here. So let's say if a customer wants to change the color of revenue from green to, let's say, dark green. Okay. So instead, because I'll be creating those two charts with the same parameter. Okay. Then obviously that is a better approach, that if I create a column like this, and if I want to change the color code, I can just type in the another color code that I want over here, and it will change the color, right? Rather than creating a separate measures or a separate parameter for colors. And obviously, if you know that the field parameters are a separate table created using DEX. Obviously, we don't want to create so many tables using DEX that will, increase the computation in our dashboard. That's why we need to be very optimized here. We will just type in the color codes for that field in a separate column, just like that. That is the best approach that we can do for this case. Or otherwise, if you have if you're not comfortable with this approach, you can always create a measure by using like selected which selected value, and that measure, and you can type in the color codes. But I think this one is much easier and effective. I hope this answers your question, Stephen. Anyone else with the question? You're welcome. Anyone, if you want to unmute your mic and ask me a question, you can do it. Thank you. So we'll wait for 2 minutes before we jump to the next slide. So this is a Q&A session that we will have. Thank you. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Dania. I hope, and I'm happy that it was very clear, like the all concepts to you. How many field parameters you recommend to be created in a model? Obviously, it depends on the requirement. Obviously, like for example, if you let me show you this. So let's say this is the dashboard that you want to create. Obviously, here I had the requirement to create like two visuals that will be using a parameter, right? So for that, obviously, I will recommend you to create only one parameter over here because both of these parameters are basically the same, right? So I'll be creating only one of them. But let's say in this chart over here, I did not want I only wanted revenue and expense, let's say. Okay, I don't want all these options, but here I want all these options. So what I can do, right? Should I be creating another parameter for that? Like another parameter where I have only those two fields, revenue and expense? Or like what is the better approach? The better approach is that if you have a condition like this, where you have like five fields over here that you want to use, but the same like the revenue and expense only you want here, create only one parameter and go to your filter pane, and you can only select those particular parameters that you want to show. Like this, see, only now this chart here, you will be able to switch between revenue and expense. Now you cannot switch between cost of goods sold as well, right? So this is how you can manage. Always try to optimize it, or always try to use as less as possible. Do not over create field parameters because they take your computational power. The Power BI dashboard can become slow over time when you have so many fields parameter. You're welcome, Daniel. And I hope it answers your question, Stephen. There is no number of parameters that you need to create. It's just always try to optimize them. Always try to create as little as possible. Do not over create them. All right. You're welcome. And I think we are now done with the Q&A session. So about the review and feedback for this webinar, Um, you can give the feedbacks and reviews in the chat as well as on my LinkedIn profile as well. You can drop your feedbacks. So thank you so much for joining this webinar. And Aisha Binte Habib, over to you. Um,
It was great to have all of you with us. Your feedbacks are very important for us so that we can just create some better sessions like this in the future. I have included the link in the chat that leads to the trainer's recommendation. Please, if any of you would like, please drop a recommendation there for Mr. Wahab Tariq. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us
you're
and giving
welcome.
us your time.
And one more thing I need to mention. Special thanks to all of you for joining. And the webinar was very great. And special thanks to Richard because he insisted me on conducting this webinar. So thank you, Richard, for this.
Richard has been our driving power for this webinar. Absolutely. So let's move to the next slide, Wahab.
Yeah.
Um, any of you, if any of you would like to get a Power BI advanced training where you can get all these different type of visualizations and dynamic reporting and some more with the Sir Mr. Wahab Tariq, we have some training courses with the for one-on-one sessions with Mr. Wahab Tariq. We have beginner training, comprehensive, big ultimate training and Figma training as well. If any of you would like, you can please visit our website and follow through the Power BI training course, or you can also reach us out at our LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's great to have you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right. So we can conclude this webinar. Thank you for joining. Take care and bye bye.